At 82, I've gained much wisdom about life. Yet there's one choice I truly regret: moving into a nursing home. Back then, it felt like the correct decision. My family supported it, assuring me that I would receive all the care and comfort I required. I trusted them. However, upon my arrival, I discovered that the reality was completely different from what I had envisioned. Many of you may be considering this choice, either for yourselves or for someone you care about. Perhaps you believe it's the most secure choice, or perhaps you've heard it will simplify things. Before you make that decision, I'd like to share 6 insights I wish I had received prior to moving in. Life in a nursing home goes beyond mere convenience. It transforms everything. Once you enter, escaping isn't as straightforward as you might believe. Stick around until the very end, as a few of these lessons may catch you off guard. If you know someone thinking about a nursing home, this video could be just what they need to hear before making a significant decision in their life. Let's dive in now. I regret one thing: losing my independence. The most surprising aspect of moving into a nursing home wasn't the cramped space, the scheduled meals, or the strange faces around me. I came to understand that I had surrendered control of my own life. Prior to my move, I had established my routines. I chose the time to rise, the moments to dine, and the way to fill my day. I had the freedom to take a stroll whenever I pleased, prepare my own dishes, or simply relax in my favorite chair with a good book. However, within the nursing home, I soon understood that my time was no longer in my control. Everything operated according to a timetable that didn't belong to me. Breakfast occurred at a designated hour, regardless of my hunger level. Lights out occurred at a specific time, regardless of my readiness for sleep. Would you like to go for a walk outdoors? It's possible that you'll require authorization, and you may need to be patient until someone is free to help you. Basic decisions such as what to eat or what to wear began to feel more like luxuries than everyday choices. I recall my initial week in that place, rising in a bed that felt unfamiliar. I propped myself up, extended my limbs, and grabbed the book I had been enjoying at home. As I surveyed the room, it suddenly struck me: this place didn't feel like home to me. My books, my cherished chair, the small comforts I had dedicated years to gathering were lost. There were only bare walls and a bed. I did not make a choice. I felt an overwhelming sense that I had lost control over my own life. What's the toughest aspect? Understanding that once you relinquish your autonomy, reclaiming it becomes nearly unfeasible. You adjust because it's necessary. You cease the debate when they announce the dinner menu. You no longer inquire about going for a walk at your convenience. You adapt to their framework, yet along the way, you begin to lose your own identity. If you're thinking about a nursing home, reflect on whether you're prepared to relinquish the little freedoms that define your life. Once they're gone, you'll realize just how much you'll miss them. Also, feeling a sense of regret, as if being overlooked. One of the most challenging realities of transitioning to a nursing home is coming to terms with the fact that life beyond its walls continues on without you. Upon my arrival, my family comforted me with promises of frequent visits. I trusted them, and at first they came through. My daughter visited weekly, my grandchildren came over on weekends, and for a brief time, it seemed like I still had ties to my past life. However, as time passed, the visits occurred less often. My daughter began to call instead of coming over. My grandchildren have been occupied with their studies and jobs. The holidays were the most challenging. Everyone said they would be there, but somehow, things always shift at the very last moment. Suddenly, I was sitting by myself in a common room, observing the other residents as they gazed at the door, wishing that today would be the day someone would remember them. It wasn't that my family ceased to care for me. Life simply intervened. When you're not present daily, it's simple for others to think you're okay, that you're adapting, and that you don't require as much care. However, The reality is that the more time you spend in a nursing home, the simpler it becomes for others to overlook how much you still rely on them. One evening, I found myself in my room, phone in hand, contemplating whether to reach out to my son. I didn't want to impose. I preferred not to bring to his attention that I was present, anticipating a visit that may never happen. I set the phone aside. That's when it dawned on me. This is my life now. Observing the passage of time, wishing that someone would think to include me. Before deciding to move into a nursing home, consider whether you are ready to face the possibility of loneliness. No matter how deeply your family cares for you, once you're no longer in their view, it can be surprisingly simple to fade from their thoughts. If you're still tuned into this video and appreciating these insights, drop a comment with the number 2 below to show me you're present. If you haven't subscribed yet, I suggest you go ahead and subscribe. And don't forget to turn on the bell so you won't miss any videos. Let's proceed from here. Regret 3. When I transitioned to the nursing home, I believed I was merely altering my living situation. I wasn't aware that I was also altering the reason for my existence. I had duties at home. I maintained routines, engaged in hobbies, and had motivation to rise each day. Even the little tasks like watering the plants, brewing my own coffee, and organizing my space provided me with a feeling of purpose. However, in the nursing home, those everyday routines vanished. Food was prepared for me. The cleaning was carried out by another person. The plants, you see, they were no longer my responsibility. Initially, I convinced myself that it would be pleasant to finally unwind. Only relaxation, no obligations, just peace. However, after several weeks, I came to the conclusion that something was lacking. The hours dragged on, elongated with only the anticipation of waiting ahead. I noticed it in other residents as well. Individuals who were once brimming with vitality now find themselves spending their days in stillness, gazing blankly, and anticipating the passage of time. A man named George, aged 84, had dedicated his entire life to being a carpenter. At home, he was constantly repairing items and creating small projects in his garage. Yet in this place, there were no instruments, no endeavors, nothing for him to bring to life. I observed as he gradually pulled his hands back once, powerful and capable, now resting in his embrace. One day he confided in me, saying he felt useless. I understood precisely what he was conveying. Without something to nurture or a goal to strive for, life begins to feel devoid of purpose. The mind decelerates and the body complies. Before long, you begin to sense that you are merely another inhabitant in a location where time passes, yet nothing truly transforms. If you're thinking about a nursing home, reflect on what brings meaning to your life. Once you settle in, discovering purpose becomes more complex than just occupying your time. It's about striving to keep the elements that bring you vitality. Regret 4. Health deteriorating more rapidly than anticipated. Prior to my transition to a nursing home, I was managing quite well considering my age. I may not have been running marathons, but I was still capable of looking after myself. Take walks and prepare my own dishes. I maintained my small habits that kept me active, shopping for groceries, doing some stretches, and even just walking around the house to maintain my leg strength. However, after I settled in, everything transformed. Initially, it appeared as though I was simply relaxing. Food was delivered to me, and I was freed from the need to spend time in the kitchen preparing meals. If I required assistance, I could simply press a button and help would arrive. However, I failed to see that the more I neglected my own needs, the more I diminished in strength. I ceased my activity, and before long, my legs began to feel more rigid. I found myself sitting more often than I did before, and soon enough, rising from a chair began to feel like a task. The muscles I had dedicated years to maintaining were vanishing more quickly than I had anticipated. It wasn't only me. I witnessed it occur to others as well. Individuals who once moved on their own 2 feet found themselves depending on wheelchairs. Individuals who had previously been self-sufficient now required assistance with tasks they had never found challenging before. The greater the assistance we received, the more it appeared we required it. I recall my neighbor Alice, the Trinidwisiris Chabirajurtunsha, an 81-year-old woman who was full of life when she first moved in. She would take her daily walks around the facility, firmly believing that a number wouldn't hold her back. However, after several months, I observed that she wasn't walking as frequently. She began with a walker and then transitioned to a wheelchair. One day, she turned to me and said, "I can't pinpoint when it occurred, but it feels like I've aged a decade in just a matter of months." That was precisely the sensation it evoked. When you cease to engage your body, you begin to lose it. In a nursing home, where everything is tailored for ease, it's easy to overlook that movement is not merely about convenience, it is fundamentally about survival. If I had realized how swiftly my strength would fade, I would have exerted more effort to keep going, to remain active, to challenge myself even on days I lacked motivation. If you're thinking about a nursing home, reflect on whether you'll maintain the drive to stay physically strong when life is designed to be so easy. Once you take a moment to slow down, you may find that rising back up is not as simple as it seems. If you're still tuning into this video and appreciating these insights, drop a comment with the number 4 below to let me know you're present. If you haven't subscribed yet, I suggest you go ahead and subscribe and make sure to turn on the bell so you won't miss any videos. Your support enables us to keep producing valuable content that informs and inspires you. Let's proceed now. I regret the loss of privacy and dignity. I didn't fully realize how much privacy I would sacrifice before moving into a nursing home. I had my own space at home. I could shut my bedroom door, embrace the quiet if I chose, and go about things my own way. In a nursing home, maintaining privacy is often a luxury that isn't guaranteed. As soon as I got there, it seemed like I was under constant observation, with staff frequently entering and exiting, regular room inspections, and communal areas where solitude was hard to find. Even basic tasks, such as putting on clothes or going to the bathroom, frequently needed help from someone. I'm aware they were simply fulfilling their responsibilities, but it's challenging to accept assistance for tasks you've managed on your own for so long. I recall my initial week grappling with the notion that I needed to seek approval for actions I previously undertook without a second thought. Would you like to take a shower? Please be patient, as you may need to wait for assistance from someone who is available. Do you need to use the bathroom? At times, hitting the call button can lead to a wait that's longer than anticipated. Meal options were restricted as well. If the menu doesn't appeal to you today, that's unfortunate. Then came the matter of roommates. Not everyone has the luxury of a private room, and having to share a space with someone else, especially someone you didn't select, can be quite annoying. I was fortunate to have a considerate roommate, but I've heard tales from others who didn't have the same experience. Some had roommates who were noisy, messy, or even had mental challenges that made it nearly impossible to get any sleep. No matter how hard you attempt to create a sense of home in your room, it never feels completely yours. It's difficult to grasp the extent of dignity lost until you find yourself in that situation, and I was unaware of how much I would have to give up until it was too late. When individuals knock but often enter without waiting for a response, when you're addressed as a patient rather than a person, when your everyday activities are governed by a timetable you didn't establish, it transforms you. You begin to sense a shift, feeling less like your true self and more like just another entry on a roster. When thinking about a nursing home, reflect on whether you are ready to relinquish the privacy and control that have been part of your life for so long. Once it's lost, reclaiming it becomes a challenge. Regret 6. understanding that departing is more challenging than anticipated. Upon my initial arrival at the nursing home, I reassured myself that it would be a short stay. I figured I'd give it a shot, see how it goes, and if it wasn't for me, I could just walk away. However, I was unaware of the difficulty I would face in trying to escape once I had entered. Initially, it appeared straightforward. If I wasn't enjoying it, I'd simply head back home. Yet home had changed completely. My home remained unoccupied, and keeping up with its upkeep from afar proved challenging. My kids had begun to make adjustments, selling items they believed I wouldn't require, and even thinking about renting out the house. When I mentioned the possibility of going back, they seemed uncertain. "Do you really think you can handle this by yourself? Isn't it wiser to remain here? Our only desire is to see you thrive." Then came the matter of physical deterioration. After several months in a situation where cooking, cleaning, and even walking far weren't necessary, I found that I wasn't as strong as I once was. The freedom I once enjoyed began to fade, making the thought of returning home more challenging than I ever anticipated. I lacked confidence in my ability to live independently, and that fear held me back. I encountered others who shared the same experience. They decided to give the nursing home a shot for a short period, only to discover that departing wasn't as straightforward as they had anticipated. The more time you spend here, the more challenging it is to adapt to life beyond these walls. Certain individuals have completely lost the option. After their home was sold or their savings depleted by the expenses of care, there was no turning back. That's the aspect that often goes unmentioned. Moving in seems like a choice that can be undone. Yet, for many, it truly isn't. The nursing home gradually envelops your entire existence, and before long, the life you once lived outside begins to fade into a distant recollection. If you're thinking about a nursing home, consider this. Are you ready for the reality that once you enter, exiting may not be as straightforward as you imagine? Once you get comfortable, the obstacles to leaving, be they financial, physical, or emotional, can prove to be more challenging to navigate than you might anticipate. If you're still tuned into this video and appreciating these insights, drop a comment with the number 6 below to show me you're present. If you haven't subscribed yet, I suggest you do so and activate the bell to ensure you don't miss any videos. Your support enables us to keep producing valuable content that informs and inspires you. Salam to Mother. Concluding reflections. Reflecting on the past, I have no regrets about aging, but I do wish I hadn't thought that a nursing home was my only choice. I entered with hopes of finding comfort, security, and an improved quality of life. What I discovered instead was a realm that gradually stripped me of my autonomy, my confidentiality, my direction, and even my identity. Does that imply that all nursing homes are negative? Not really. Certain individuals truly require the type of support they offer. Before you make that choice, take a moment to consider what you might be sacrificing, as once you take that step, everything will change. If I had the chance to do it again, I would have put up a stronger fight to remain in my own home, sought out additional avenues for assistance without sacrificing my independence, and ensured that my need to be there was genuine before committing to such a lasting decision. If you find yourself in this situation, I encourage you to reflect and consider whether this is genuinely the best choice for you, or is it merely what appears to be the simplest option at this moment? The life you live now, your daily habits, your freedom, your decisions, is something to cherish for as long as possible. We appreciate your presence with us today. We are eager to receive your feedback. Share your thoughts in the comments and tell us one thing you discovered today and how you intend to apply it in your life. We value your opinions, so please feel free to express them. Your feedback truly inspires and uplifts us. If you found this video enjoyable and useful, kindly give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share it with others. Your support enables us to keep producing valuable content that informs and inspires you. We appreciate your viewership and can't wait to have you join us in the next video.